Welcome back to the Don't Stop Me Now podcast, where being negative can be a good thing and being positive can turn the world against you. Hello, everybody. I'm your HIV positive host, Ms. Jennifer Lee Vaughn, and this is episode number 128. It is Sunday, February 2nd, and again, another cold, rainy day here in California, but it's what we should be having right now in February. That makes sense. So today I have some stories. I have some just crazy HIV anxiety stories that I wanted to share. And I want to go over some of the news that's going on. Before I forget, I have some shout outs. While I was at the gym today, a guy came up to me, which never happens. Like, that's just like the rarest thing. And I had to take out I always fumble when I have like my headphones in, because like I don't know how to turn my music off like in that moment. For some reason, I always feel like I fumble. So I just pulled my headphones out, or my earbuds, or whatever. I pulled them both out because he was clearly trying to talk to me. And he just said, hey, aren't you a YouTuber? I'm like, yeah, actually. And like, we never talked about what it was for. Like, I didn't want to blurt out, right in the middle of the gym that, I talk about HIV, but I'm assuming that he knew that. And so he said, yeah, he was so cute because he was kind of like nervous. And he said that he lives in Salinas, but his girlfriend lives in Santa Cruz. So he was like doing his workout kind of halfway in between at my gym. And anyway, he just said, yeah, I recognized you. And I just thought it was okay to, I hope it was okay to come up and say hi, kind of thing. And he put his hand out and shook my hand. He said, my name's Angel. And that was about it. I said, well, I'd be doing a podcast today. So anyway, shout out to Angel. So, hey, Angel. And then a couple more shout outs. I've got Brown Eyes 411, who says nice things to me. Hello. Kimmy J 6158. Hey, what's up? Always saying nice things. Emily Likes. It looks like Sten Anderson 8064 had said something in a comment that, I don't have HIV, but I was watching your podcast. And so I had to like write back to him and say, you can still watch. You don't have to have HIV to watch my podcast. I mean, it's for anybody. So then he said that he would absolutely subscribe. And he's like, you're right. That makes sense. It's funny. I do see that in comments a lot, people saying, clarifying that I don't have HIV, but I came across your videos, or I watch your stuff, or whatever. It's like, shouldn't matter. I wouldn't say that if somebody had like, I don't know, I followed somebody that was paralyzed, I wouldn't write in the comments and say, I'm not paralyzed, but I really like watching your videos. I don't know why people need to tell me that. Anyways, Ronnie Messer, hello. That's a she. And Desmond Gallagher comments a lot. So what's up, Desmond? Thanks for all the comments. I think 90% of them are nice. Sometimes I think you're a little hard on me, I think. Okay. So I wanted to talk about, first of all, just kind of a funny thing. So lately I do take a lot of things to help me go to sleep. I take gabapentin, that's for my restless leg syndrome, and it works perfectly. I take over-the-counter sleeping pill, it's not Unisom, but it's like the Target version. And I take a melatonin, and I take a 10 milligram edible. And I don't do that all the time, but I've been doing it more lately. And it's great. I sleep like a rock. I sleep so well. Like, I'm in the most, and like if I get up to go to the bathroom, if I have to go back to sleep, it's effortless. I don't stay awake or whatever. But if I miss the sleeping pill or one of those, I will wake up in the middle of the night and I will not be able to get back to sleep. It's the worst. So this does keep me asleep for the night, this combination, and it's all safe. But anyways, the edible has been doing this thing to me every night. I am waking up about 2 hours later, 2.5 hours later, around there, 3 hours, and I am dying for snacks. I know that's what this does. I know what marijuana does. I don't ever remember having this feeling with it before when I would do it when I was awake. But it's waking me up. So I'll go down in my freezing cold house in my t-shirt and underwear and my son is asleep, so he doesn't see me. And I'll grab, like, I've been kind of addicted to those snap peas, like those, they're like chips. They're green and they're like sticks and they're green and yeah, they're like chips. And then those, and I just got the popcorn from Smart Popcorn. I think it's called Smart Pop. It's real light on the butter and the salt and all that. And I brought the giant bag from Costco up into my room last night. And the funny thing is that I'm kind of asleep, but I cannot explain. I mean, I will try to, but the flavors when it's the middle of the night and it's the edible and whatever, it's so much better than during the day. Like, I could eat that popcorn during the day and it wouldn't taste as incredible as it does in the middle of the night when I'm sleepy and I'm sort of, yeah, I don't know. I'm just craving it so bad. And every bite is just the best. And I have to literally make myself do a countdown to stop eating because I can't stop. I'm like, I can't. It's so hard to stop. Like last night, I said, okay, 10 more like reaches in the bag, and then I'm going to stop because I'd already been putting popcorn in my mouth while I'm in bed. I had to, like, I washed my sheets today. I had popcorn pieces in my bed this morning when I woke up, like little white pieces, because it's, falling out of my hands. But anyway, I'm counting backwards from 10, like just enjoying every single moment of every bite, realizing that I'm going to stop soon. I'm going to stop. So I did. I stopped. And then I went back to sleep and I woke up an hour later and I ate more. I stopped. I went through the same process again. And about an hour later, I woke up and did it again. I ate 3 times in the middle of the night last night. And no, I am not hungry. I'm not going to bed hungry. I'm not in some kind of calorie deficit. There's nothing like that going on. It's the edible, I'm pretty sure. And it's become a habit. So I'm eating in the middle of the night. I've got to stop this habit. I mean, it's fine. I'm not like gaining weight or anything, but it just kind of ridiculous to be eating in the middle of the night. Like, it's not really a time to be eating. So I think maybe tonight, no edible. We'll see. I wanted to talk about the plane crash in Washington, D.C. that happened. I think it's been a week now, almost a week. So, of course, everybody knows by now that an American Airlines plane had come into the Reagan National Airport, was about to land, and was struck by a Black Hawk that came from, I don't know, it looked like it came from out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere, but it looked like it made a beeline for the plane, which was weird. The whole thing's weird. Everybody agrees that it does appear to be not an accident. I don't know why the 3 people in the Black Hawk would want to kill themselves, but it's just, it's tragic, but it does seem very strange because of the experience of the Black Hawk pilots, who I guess they had night vision goggles on. I just heard that, but like, they're experts at flying these things, and like, what happened was just so odd. Just nothing. It doesn't add up. It doesn't look right. Everybody perished. Of course, there was 67 people in all, 64 on the plane and 3 in the helicopter. And what I put on TikTok yesterday and today is that they haven't recovered all the bodies yet. I think they've recovered, as of yesterday, 41 of the bodies out of the 67, which is a little confusing for me because I had thought that this plane landed in a very deep river, the Potomac, but it's not. It was waist deep. So the plane landed in the waist deep water. So nobody drowned. I mean, when we watched this all unfolding, I'm like, oh my God, people are going to drown. There's water filling up in the plane. I didn't know at the time that the water was only waist deep. And then I'm like, oh God, they're going to have hypothermia. They're going to die of hypothermia. And, this is just tragic because they won't get to them in time, because within like a half an hour, that's it. It's too late. But no, that wasn't the case. And they really haven't talked about the condition of the people that they're finding. Of course, we know that there's like 14 young ice skaters on the plane. Just they were coming back from an ice skating event in Wichita, Kansas, and many, many young lives. Some of their parents were on the plane. The coaches were on the plane. It couldn't be more tragic. Like, it's really so tragic. And so anyways, my mind gets a little morbid, and I'm just thinking about, because that is the same airport and the same airline that Joey and I flew in from. Well, our flight was from Dallas into DC, but it was the same, it's the same airport that we went to just a month prior, which is like, I know it wasn't like the plane right before or the plane right after or a day before or a day after. It was a month before, but that still feels, well, okay, 2 months. It's been 2 months, but still, that still feels close. I mean, I flew into that same exact spot. We went right over the Potomac too. It was at night, so I didn't really see it. But from what it looks like, it doesn't look like it is over the water for very long. And of course, where the helicopter hit it, it did land on the water. Anyway, I guess my thought is, did the bodies, I'm getting some feedback from people online. They're saying that the bodies, it did probably just incinerate upon impaction. Is that the right word? During the explosion from the helicopter. So they're finding parts of bodies. They haven't identified even all of the 41. Only 28 of the 41 as of yesterday had been identified. So I guess, yeah, they're not whole. But my thought is that, of course, everybody was in a seat because they were just about to land. So I'm just thinking, was there anybody, you just wonder how much time did anybody have to really consciously know what was happening? Or did it happen so fast that they didn't have even a second to comprehend what was happening and they died instantly? Or were there people in the back who weren't affected by the blast and they were alive as the plane plummeted to essentially the ground, because the water is so shallow, it literally is like hitting the ground. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts about all of that. It just seems strange. And the water, I don't think, is moving. It, from what I've seen online, it looks like it's pretty much just kind of sitting there because it's cold and it's sort of frozen in parts, but it's not like moving. It's just kind of like a bay. So the bodies aren't like, my point is that the bodies aren't like floating away quickly from some stream or anything. I don't know. I just can't believe they haven't found everybody. It's very tragic. So that, okay. Moving on to something a little bit more wholesome. I was at my son's game last week, and there was a older couple sitting next to myself and my ex-husband. And my ex-husband was talking to the man who had used to play basketball for his dad, for Chris's dad. And so the wife had turned around, and I would say she was maybe in her late 60s, early 70s. And she turned around and she started to mouth to me something. And I realized right away that she couldn't talk. So I kind of thought maybe she just had laryngitis. So I said, oh, you can't, oh, no worries. You don't, don't worry. And then I don't remember exactly how it went down, but the husband might have said she actually can't talk. And so I immediately told her, oh, no worries. I work with kids that can't talk. It's fine. Well, we can still find to communicate, like I wanted her to be at ease with me, that I'm not in any way shocked by the fact that she can't talk. It's fine. We'll figure something out here. And I didn't really mean that we were going to have a long conversation. I just wanted her to know that, yeah, I work with kids that don't speak. So I get it. And then I said, is it temporary or is it permanent? I mean, did something happen to your vocal cords? And she pointed to her neck, and she must have had some kind of surgery because she had a scar. She pointed to it. And she kept pointing to her head. I said, oh, it's neurological. And she said, yes, yes, yes. But she's making zero. She doesn't even make a breathing sound. Her voice makes no sound at all. It was just her thumbs up mouth, kind of like saying, but there's no sound coming out at all. And so I just said, well, and I was like thinking fast. What do you say? Because this is like, how often do you come across somebody that has zero voice and it's not going to come back? I mean, if it's neurological, more than likely it won't. So I said to her, I'm just so happy. We have to just be so happy that we have our health, right? That we're here and we have our health. And I said, I've had 2 near-death experiences. It's funny. At the moment, all I could think of was AIDS, but kind of forgot I got shot. But I always know that I've gone through two things that were close to death. But at the moment, I actually forgot about the first one. But anyways, I just said, I've had two near death experiences. So I understand like how much we need to appreciate just being here today. And she pointed to her necklace, which had a big cross. And I'm not religious, but I'll respect, obviously, that she feels that she's here because it was God's plan. And so, and she pointed up, to the sky and just put her hands like this together. And I showed her my tattoo that says, "Tomorrow's never promised." This all happened in under 2 minutes with a complete stranger. We grabbed each other's hands, and I totally got teary-eyed. We both did. And I just said, "I'm just so glad you're okay." And she was like, "Thank you." Like she's saying thank you, but she can't say the words. And she just kept pointing above and squeezing my hand. And we just had this beautiful, beautiful human moment. It was like, it threw me. It was right before Owen's game. I didn't expect it at all. It happened so quickly. And it was just two humans being so grateful to be alive. And it was really special. It was really special. I told my daughters about it on the way to the next game 2 nights later. Sure enough, she's there because she's watching her granddaughter play. The girls play before the varsity boys. So she was there. And I went over to her and I said, "I just told my daughters about you. As we were driving over here, I just told them about, because they weren't at that game. They weren't able to go because they had other stuff going on. Anyway, but I said that I was telling them about you and how we had a very special moment." And so then we had another special moment right then because, she's like basically mouthing, "Oh, thank you. I know. Like it was great." Like she was saying, "I know," mouthing it, pointing up again, pointing to her cross, and we hugged again. And I just said, "Well, it's so good to see you." And again, I got all teary eyed. So it was, oh man. Isn't that incredible to have those kind of moments with people that you just don't know them at all, but you can connect in such a deep, beautiful way, like even without even using words. I mean, she couldn't even use words, and we communicated. It was, yeah, special. Okay, moving on. Okay, those are all done. I'm gonna read some comments that I got from people. This one, so nice. So nice. I'll start with the garbage. I got one from somebody that used to follow me. They didn't like something I said on my Instagram story. I can be very polarizing. I'm aware of that. Anyway, basically just talking about transmission risk. I had a gay man who I'm friends with through the internet, and he just, was leaving me lots of voice memos about how, the gay population really were responsible for the explosion of HIV. Like, we all know that. Like, that's not a surprise. That's what the stats even proved. I mean, they still do today. Like, it's like the stats don't lie. I mean, a little bit about the DL men and possibly being any hetero men involved. But anyway, he just wrote, like, he just said, "I used to feel sorry for you. First of all, I'm not asking for anybody's pity, but now I know why God plagued you with this disgusting, incurable gay disease. You deserve it." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barfing emojis. So anyways, he blocked me, so I couldn't respond back to him. Or I did respond, but I could tell it didn't go through. So ironically enough, like I go to my TikTok not too long after that, and I've got a message from this Dr. Emmett McCanna, I don't know. Anyways, he just said, I was just saying, I wish this guy had just stayed on my Instagram a little bit longer so he could see that I actually am appreciated by doctors and nurses alike. But this doctor said, "Just want to say your videos are awe-inspiring and give hope. As an HIV physician, I want to thank you for your incredible role in helping others learn and become aware and reduce ignorance and reduce stigma. I hope you are doing well, and thank you for making an impact, and know your message has helped so many people. And my sincere gratitude, wishing you health and happiness. Take care." Very nice, very nice. So I got some haters, and I have people that like me as well. So it goes both ways. I have some ridiculous HIV anxiety stories, and then there's 3 of those. Somebody who reached out to me who has paid for my services had a 1 minute exposure. Of course, he was a virgin, so this is a first time sexual experience. He is Muslim, and the girl got pregnant, unfortunately. So she took everything to have a early term. Would you say that? Abortion. So she wasn't tested for HIV, but I keep telling him, dude, you don't have HIV. It was like he was in her for a minute, and then he thinks that because she was on top of him, that somehow her juices got down into his urethra because he's not felt well and all this. But, I'm like, he's tested negative like a million times. I'm like, dude, it's guilt for being Muslim and having sex before you're married, because that is culturally unacceptable. And it's because you don't know anything about HIV, and because you were a virgin. So you think now that you're in trouble. So basically that's what happens. People always have these other things that make it so easy to figure out why they think they're positive, and a lot of times it's, outside of their marriage. So they think they are going to get caught. It would be the worst thing ever, obviously, to get caught by their spouses, and they've been with sex workers or whatever. And, like I said, in 9 years, I've never had a hetero man come back positive for HIV. And most of the time it is that they've seen sex workers. But again, who are the safest out there? Female sex workers. Okay, so this guy, I'm going to read that one after. I haven't even prepped that one. I just knew it was something I kind of wanted to read. And I looked at it briefly and I thought, I'll save it for the podcast. I'll read it and answer it right now. Like, I haven't read it, so maybe it'll be interesting, maybe it won't be. But before I get to that one, I've got, that has nothing to do with anything. This one I couldn't print, so I'm gonna, hold on, gotta bring it up on my computer. This one was really funny. Oh no, I don't want that. Oh, that's right. I'm always on the struggle bus when I'm looking at that. Okay, bring up there we go, right there. Okay, this guy says, please help. I had an incident during a sporting event. Are you ready for this? The finger of one of my friends accidentally touched my gums. We were sitting next to each other for 15 to 20 minutes. Why that is even relevant, I don't know. And I didn't see any blood on his finger. I know that he has multiple sexual partners in night bars and spa centers. Can this be a risk factor for transmitting HIV or transmitting the virus? Joey said, if by him touching your gums you meant his dick was up your ass, then yeah, you should probably go get tested. That was hilarious. I put that on my Instagram because made a lot of people laugh. It's true. It's like, dude, really, really? You think this is gonna, I'm touching my gums right now. You think this causes HIV? Like, what? Is that because when they test for HIV, we scrape our gums and people think like that's gonna create somehow HIV? They scrape the gums because the cells, it's scraping off cells, like epithelial maybe, off your gums. That's all it is. There's not HIV on the gums or on your fingers. I don't know. Like, the whole thing's wacky. So the answer is a resounding no. You didn't get HIV from that situation. It's not an exposure or anything. I didn't see any blood on his fingers. Oh my God, people are wild. So no. I loved this one. This guy wrote to me and says, as a heterosexual male who's only been with women, after going through your entire catalog, I mean, listening to every podcast episode on the way to work and every video, you know who you are. This is, I want to say Rain Carter 214. I hope it's okay that I said your name, but don't worry. No one will even know how to spell it because you spell it very differently. He says, and doing my research from the CDC and this one from the VA, do I believe women are transmitting HIV? Hell no. Could it happen? Sure. But also you could get struck by lightning, which according to statistics, you have a higher chance of that happening than contracting HIV. For us heteros, you're also a positive voice in our ear. When I find myself overthinking, I listen to one of your podcasts or one of your videos. Your subtle yet broad approach to this matter is calming, and I just want to say thank you. You are very welcome. And he screenshotted his watch history on YouTube, and it was like all of my videos, which makes me blush. I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody should be watching me that much. Don't you guys get sick of me and my face and my voice and what I say. Anyways, but I totally appreciate it, and I'm glad that it's helpful. So, okay, so let's delve into this one. This was a public comment on YouTube. It's honestly, it's so light, I can't even read it, but it was from somebody 8597. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So they say it looks like Allah. I don't know, maybe Alan. No, it's ALAH, I think. Anyways, this person says, so I have a question. Me and 3 friends, they're guys, went to Thailand about a year ago. One of our friends had intercourse with sex workers. They were Russian, Ukrainian, and Thai. Now, in told him, okay, that doesn't make sense. I'm just reading it word for word, so people don't check what they write. Now, he said, he meant to say, I'm told, no. Now I've told him repeatedly to use a condom, and he assured me that he did every time. But honestly, we were doing a lot of drugs over there, me included, so I doubt he used it all of the time. He is not gay or bi and only had sex with female sex workers. Anyway, I don't want to make any assumptions here. So here's the story. About 2 weeks after we got home from Thailand, he gets sick with flu-like symptoms, but a bit more intense. Time passes, and this guy is sick all the time, like at least once a month. And mind you, he was never sick before. 2 months pass and he starts developing athlete's foot. Oh, not the dreaded HIV athlete's foot. I'm kidding. He treats it, but it keeps coming back. I told him he should get it checked out, but he said he thinks it's because the weather is really humid in the country where he lives. 6 months pass and he starts developing a dry cough. Why is this guy so consumed with his friends' like illnesses? Because this guy has HIV and anxiety, obviously the one that wrote to me. So 6 months pass and he starts developing a dry cough. This is weird, dude, that you're keeping track of all this, the dates and the things. I actually think this is you. Like, come on. Sounds kind of like when you hear alcoholics cough. It makes like a wheezing noise too. He told me I told him to get some blood work done. He told me, and I told him to get some blood work done. There we go. But he kind of shrugged it off. Now, about 9 months later, he is starting to have very painful lower back pain. So bad, he had to lie down a lot. The previous symptoms also are still there. Now, I don't want to scare him, but I really think it's time I tell him to get an HIV test. But I guess my question is, does he really need to take one? I don't want to scare the guy for no reason and have him go do a test, especially when you were saying there was no chance. I never said no chance of getting it from heterosexual sex. And I'm 100% sure he is not bi or gay. Does it sound like he needs to get a test? Is there any point of me telling him to? Sure. I mean, why not? I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to rule that out. Like, odds are highly, highly in his favor that it's not HIV. But God, what if it was? What if he lied to you? What if he was with a trans woman and he had a little prick up his rear end? You don't know. You don't know what happened 100%. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend an HIV test to him. Why not? Because, if he were positive, even if it were a woman and that happened, which again, it's just like, I never hear that, but like, what if it was? I mean, better to be aware of what's going on in your body, get on treatment, and then you won't transmit it to anybody and you'll live a normal life and you won't be sick, like, why not? So yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell him to go test for HIV. He'll probably think you're crazy. It'll probably freak him out, but more than likely he'll be fine. But why not? Why wouldn't you just, I don't know, why ask me? Why not just tell him to do it? Is there some like big shame in testing? There shouldn't be. Like, just go do it, even if it's a waste of time. Go do it. I am not worried that this guy has HIV. The athlete's foot, I don't know, that cracks me up. I guess maybe because, is that like a yeast? Maybe that's where they were going out with that, or coming from with that, because it is like, I had yeast obviously in my mouth and I had yeast infections, so maybe that's where he's going with that one. Anyways, I don't know. So yeah, tell him to test. Why not? Tell him to test. I think that's about it for today. This Sunday, I'm going to wrap this up and get this out. And okay, I will say I went on a date just really quick. I did go on a date. The guy, well, okay. So it's from Tinder. Yes. He found me. He found me online. He said, I don't, and he wrote this long thing. He said, I don't mean to be like weird or whatever, but like I found you. He basically just looked up Jennifer and we live kind of close together because I did tell him my real name. I have a fake name on Tinder. And he went into Facebook, put in Jennifer, and just scrolled until he found somebody that looked like me, which is like crazy. Like, I don't know. But anyways, and then on Facebook, my full name is there. So you just Google it and there you go. So I said, hey, thanks. He was really nice about it. And I said, hey, thanks for being like, nice and not judging me or whatever. I just let it go because I figured that was the end of that. But then he came back like 5 or 6 hours later and said, hey, I actually would really like to meet you. And I was like, sure. So I thought, why not? So it was a Monday and he said, we ended up just kind of going back and forth. And he's like, hey, are you available tonight? And I'm like, why not? YOLO. I don't know. Why not? So he asked, if I wanted to come to his place and have tea, which I'm like, no, I don't even know you. So I'm like, it's got to be somewhere public. So I wanted to meet halfway. So we met, we went to go meet, he found this really nice like wine bar, but they were doing trivia night. And so the trivia was really loud when we got in there. It was a very small place and they were like almost yelling into the mic. So I'm like, yeah, like this is like we ended up walking down the street and going to this bar. He doesn't drink and I didn't feel like having a drink if he's not going to have a drink. So, and he was cute, totally cute, 37, like my height and, curly dark hair. Yeah, he was cute. He was half Jewish, half Mexican. And because I just had a feeling I saw Jewish for some reason. Just something about him made me feel that way. But anyways, so we went and talked at this bar and we had great conversation. He was really like in a super good mood. Like I wouldn't say it was overly flirtatious in any way. It was very comfortable. We talked about the fact that he had recently gotten out of a marriage where it wasn't really his wanting it. And it had only been 2 months, I think, that since they'd been separate, but things had been rocky leading up to it. So I said, this is just my luck. I always meet guys that are like coming out of a relationship. I swear to God, it's always that way. But it was fine because I wasn't like thinking much of anything with him. I was just thinking maybe we'll be friends, or whatever. So we walk out to my car after and we hug and then that was it. He just planted one on me and we started kissing. So we kissed for a while. It was really nice. It was fun. And, we went on our, both went our separate ways. And we talked about, like, he asked what my schedule was. We talked about going, hanging out again, maybe hanging out at his place. I don't know. And the next day I didn't hear from him, which is fine. And then the next day we just had a very small, that was fun with a smiley face and that was whatever. And then, so Wednesday night I get a kind of a longer message from him explaining that, hey, I've got a busy week coming up, busy weekend. Maybe we can connect next week. I just want to be like upfront and honest about where I'm at right now. Although I had fun, I had a really good time. Like, I think he got into his head, this happens like all the time with guys I meet who are just getting out of relationships. That happens a lot. They are excited when they meet me and then they go home and then they're not ready. So, which is fine. I don't really care. I don't want somebody that's like still like that wrapped up in their old relationship and having those feelings. Like, I don't want to be brought into someone else's messy feelings, basically. So he just basically said, I just want to be upfront and honest. Like, this is where I'm at. I kind of got like, he basically just got like feeling weird, after, which was fine. And he said, but hey, maybe we can, hang out next week or whatever. So I said, no worries. Totally get it. I'm not in any rush in any direction. And, take your time. If we connect next week and our schedules align, then maybe we can hang out. We'll just see, right? Like, I'm in no rush either, like whatever. And so I said, but feel free to reach out anytime. So I responded back. He hearted it right away. And the next day, he either unmatched me on Tinder or he deleted his account. I'm not sure. I know that he was very new to Tinder. He'd only been on it for a week. I was the first person he met. He was talking to a couple other people. So it could have been that he got spooked and just decided he wasn't ready, although he thought he might have been. It could have been my, meeting him, and like the whole thing was maybe just when he got home, because he was so like positive and like had so much like positive energy when I met him. Like the conversation was never lacking. We talked for like an hour and a half. Actually, it was over 2 hours. So anyway, gone from Tinder, and I have not heard a word from him. And now it's Sunday. Like I might still hear from him. Who knows? I honestly, it's fine because I don't want to deal with somebody who's going through that stuff. But I just thought it's kind of rude, like to be so nice the day before and then just get rid of Tinder and not kind of say, hey, by the way, I got rid of it. I didn't delete you. I don't know. I would do that if I liked somebody or had met them. I would not, just after all of that, after talking for 2 hours, having such a nice time, then having a good time kissing and stuff after, and then having nice messages, like we're both nice people. How did he just decide that he's going to like unmatch me or delete Tinder and like say nothing to me about it? I don't know. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get guys sometimes, most of the time. Okay, now I'll end it. All right, you guys, have a good week. And I hope your start to February is a good one and everyone is happy and warm and enjoying the beginning of 2025. Okay, bye now. Bye, guys.